Hello and welcome to the Stampscapes replay of Dancing in the Clouds. This is a half-page scene done as a reflection card. Right here we're stamping out the marble steps and the cloud cumulus in black ink. I'm taking my large columns here and we're going to flank our dancing figure with these two columns here. Trying to get it as straight as I can. Sometimes they come out a little bit crooked, but I don't know. It's not something that I really care about. I care about it, but not so much as to where I'm using a ruler or something like that. Creating background clouds. Now I'm doing them in a lighter tone than the foreground clouds, so whatever color scheme you're doing, just do them in lighter tones and it'll look like the clouds are going back into the distance. So right here we're going to be doing a blue color scheme, so I'm doing this in a fairly dark blue to the left and right behind the figure so that I wouldn't have to mask her off. I did it in a fairly light blue. Using that same light blue, putting it now in the background of the darker blue and black cloud, and masking off my columns a little bit and using that light blue to surround my figure coming in from the top portion of the scene. So it kind of creates this little hole in the clouds. That's where my light will be coming through. And to depict this light, what I'm doing is I'm using the same blue ink that I stamped out my lightest cloud impressions with, and I'm adding this tone around on the perimeter. I'm adding it onto the columns and steps, and I'm retaining some of the white of the glossy cardstock white in the background, and that's going to represent my light. A lot of times people wonder, how do you depict light? Well, you just don't tone everything out, you retain your lighter areas. Now, to create extra depth in my clouds, because some of those cloud areas where I, applied tone over the top of them, I don't see them as well, or if at all. So I'm adding additional impressions with a darker color to create added depth and visual distance within that cloudy range, okay? So you can do clouds in multiple colors. Dark ones usually look a little bit closer to us and light ones look farther away. And you're also creating a lot of depth within your sky area by doing things in multiple colors. So think about doing that with your clouds and sky figures, not just stamping them out in one value or color. Okay, now I'm using some alcohol inks to go in and add additional tones in detailed areas. We're going in here with a white acrylic paint pen, and I'm reclaiming some of the highlighted areas within, right now, the dress, and I'll add on a lot of little details of, they call it specular light with this white pen. So it looks like little reflective areas within our objects. You can see it on the marble staircase. I'll use it on my columns a little bit, and I'm creating that, they call it like a silver line cloud or something like that with the pen. Okay, now the clouds already look soft, but adding on some additional white pigment ink with a cotton ball really makes your clouds look really soft and illuminated and glowing, and I'm adding it into the areas where the clouds are fairly light. Now I'm doing the same thing over some of my figure. I'm not doing it over all of her, but you can see I'm doing it at the base of some of these columns, so it looks like some of that kind of misty glowing light is on our figures as well as the columns. Okay, now this is our reflective area down below. Making a reflection card is super easy. You just keep things on that lower section fairly simple and use the type of media that will adhere, dry on this surface right here. This is using a white brilliance ink, and right now I'm stamping my cloud cumulus in a StazOn ink. But the StazOn will stick to the mirrored surface, but the white won't, so you'll have to just spray seal it. Adding in a additional quote here. I love quotes in white in that mirrored area because it looks like it's floating on the surface like that. Okay, adding in some additional kind of detailing and lighting and texture and also depth into the scene with these little white dots. But we won't just leave it as white dots. I'll show you some little trick I do with these little illuminated dots here. And that's going over it with the white pigment ink with a little Q-tip right here. And it makes it look like a little glowing sphere. It looks great as stars or something like that. They're supposed to be little glowing orbs in this case, but I'll show you how to make it even more three-dimensional here in a second. I'm using this art glue, crafting glue right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some clear and amethyst, or not amethyst, aquamarine colored crystals in the center of those little spheres. And there you have it. Dancing in the Clouds reflection card. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks so much for tuning into the Stampscapes channel.